Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video. Great to see you, as always, aboard the deadliest Star Destroyer this galaxy has ever seen, and the Empire's finest. What we're going to talk about today is a guy that can help you out here on planet Earth. Some of you might be temporarily out of a job. Well, this boy right back here, Greef Karga, he's told me he's got a couple of side jobs for you guys to complete. That is right. We're going to be talking about Greef Karga in today's video. What does he do? How does he make the bounty hunters? How does he have 4 stars, 7 stars? How does he do on defense for Grand Arena? We're going to showcase all of that today. Long story short, my goodness, he is such a solid addition to the bounty hunter crew. He's like the Captain Rex and the BB-8 combined for the bounty hunters. Are you going to beat Galactic Legends? No, you're not going to probably take on Galactic Legends, Rey and Kylo. But thinking of Grand Arena, wow, there's a lot of cool teams that you could form with Greef Karga, and a lot of teams that you're gonna be able to beat and probably hold a better defense with Greef Karga. Really excited for what the bounty hunters have right now of Greef Karga, and I'm really looking forward to the addition of the Mandalorian. We'll talk a little bit how I think Greef Karga is gonna work fantastically with the Mandalorian. We'll be live streaming Mando on April 30th, sometime around 1:30 p.m., 2 p.m. Central Time, US. Without further ado, let's not keep you in too much suspense. Gary, roll some footage for these lovely people. So the first 2 battles you're going to be seeing today, ladies and gentlemen, are 4-star gameplay showcasing Greef Karga. It's been a while since I said we can use a 3-4-star character in Galaxy Heroes, because let's be honest, Gear 12 is kind of the bare minimum you need to do all this end game stuff out there, and Gear 12 is barely cutting it. Gear 13 is obviously where it's at, and of course relics, but the 4-star/3-star gameplay at Gear 11, Greef Karga is able to do a lot of things for a couple of reasons. Firstly, he's a support character. Now, usually attackers and tanks, they have a harder time being viable at low stars for end game type of stuff. But support characters, what do you need the most out of them? They're support-based attributes. And for Greef Karga, that's his turn meter gain, his health, protection regeneration, the tenacity up, the retribution, his unique ability, reducing cooldowns. And on top of that, he goes under stealth when his payout's being triggered, when he's starting off in battle so Han Solo can't insta-kill him. Really, you got to rely on AoEs to kill off Greef Karga. So this is why I'm able to give my stamp of approval for his 3-star Gear 11 viability, 4-star, and of course, even better when you go up to the higher gear levels. So with Greef Karga, the great thing about him, even at low stars, is that he is able to take the bounty hunters to a whole different level. We're going to kind of break down the kit, what the mods are going to be like, and what Zetas you're going to want on these characters. But as you already saw, with Jango Fett, Greef Karga can make easy work of the Geos. Cara Dune is also pretty good in Greef Karga's spot. If you didn't see that, we showed Cara Dune of Jango is a pretty good counter to Geos as well. So Geos should be a fairly consistent counter when you bring Greef Karga into the mix. The battle you're seeing right now with a 4-star Greef Karga, again, this is 4 stars. After this battle, we'll be showing the Gear 13 Relic 5 gameplay of Greef Karga. In this battle, we didn't even need to use Jango or Bosk. Greef Karga was able to just bring in Boba Fett and some leftover bounty hunters to take on a Relic Night Sister team, because that health recovery, the retribution, you're able to get those payouts triggered as fast as possible. Oh, he's a beautiful addition. And with this, for this battle, for example, use your Boba Fett and leftover bounty hunters to take on a Night Sister team, for example. You could still have a good Jango or a Boss. They put Jango in the Separatist team, make another good Boss defensive team. There's so much viability that the bounty hunters are going to be having, and we're still not done yet. We still have some more stuff in the future to be looking at. So with the modding structure of Greef Karga, it's pretty simple. Speed is going to be the way to go for Greef Karga. He's got a pretty high base speed. Greef Karga, Mando, and Cara Dune are luckily having some good base speed, somewhere in that top 25% of characters in Galaxy Heroes, which means with Greef Karga, you're able to kind of pull some big plays, especially if you use Jango lead with that extra 30 speed. You can really set yourself up for some good opening moves. So speed, put that on him. The rest, probably maybe some potency so you can land the dazes more consistently with the basic. I actually recommend don't put tenacity on this character. Usually support characters, you don't want them getting debuffs, but the cool thing is of Greef Karga, which my chat properly pointed out during our live stream testing today, the good thing is with his payout, once it's triggered, anytime debuffs are applying to him, he's reducing the cooldowns of his abilities by 1. Ooh, that is good. So if debuffs like a random damage over time, a tenacity down, yada, 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 gets applied to him. Luckily, it's not easy to focus fire a debuff like from Jedi Training random, because he's going to be under stealth. The cool thing about this is that he's able to reduce his cooldowns or bring them in cold, doing another mass storm attack, do another cleanse, turn meter gain from Sweets in the deal. really, really good. So that's kind of the overall modding structure, speed, and maybe just stay away from tenacity. Go for a critical chance or go for protection, something survivability. Greef Karga is a support character, not a damage dealer character. Now, when it comes to Zetas, he's got 2 Zetas on them. Bring them in cold and sweeten the deal. I recommend sweeten the deal at the bare minimum to throw on him. Of course, we'll talk a bit about bring them in cold and how that operates. That's actually the BB-8 component of his kit, in my opinion. But sweeten the deal. If you want to unlock his Captain Rex capabilities, you're going to want to Zeta this, because this is where you get the mass cleanse, which bounty hunters do not have a mass cleanser right now. And you're going to get the tenacity up. We don't have a mass tenacity up for the bounty hunters right now. That is incredibly important to throw on him if you want to really unlock all this potential. We're only rocking a 1 Zeta Greef Karga in today's gameplay. I'll explain why the other Zeta's all right. But let's start kind of breaking down the kit, because right now, you're seeing against the best team the bounty hunters could beat with Greef Karga is the Jedi Knight Revenant team. A fairly good Jedi Knight Revenant team. Some good speeds. We have some good relics on these Jedi. And not like we see a lot of Jedi on defense, but who knows? You might come across a Jedi team on defense. I wanted to show the upper tier character or teams that Greef Karga can beat. And Jedi were definitely an easy battle for them with all the recovery, all the mass swarms, the retribution. This team really had it all going for them. We tried some other stuff. We tried some Darth Revan. That didn't really pan out. I think there's a slight potential. Maybe Greef Karga can maybe make something with Bounders against Sith Empire. I'm not banking on it. We do have some General Grievous gameplay. We got close to beating him, but not quite consistent enough where I feel confident going up against General Grievous. But Jedi was the best team we can beat. And then we have Night Sisters. We have Geonosians. All those other teams you're traditionally going to see in Bounty Hunters. Really easy to get high banners with your Bounty Hunters. The basic, the dual shot really came in handy to slow down things like B2. If you can land the Daze on B2, fantastic. He stops getting his bonus turn meter. Daze is always pretty solid on the basic, and the health and protection recovery with the basic is pretty solid. So that's why you kind of see me have Bosk, for example, on these teams. Teams that are the characters that are going to let Greef Karga use his basic as often as possible, because you want that steady stream of health and protection recovery. But bring them in cold. We don't have the Zeta on this ability for the gameplay. I'll explain why it's important in a second. This is where the BB-8 component of the kit comes in handy. First off, you're going to do a mass buff the spell on the target enemy. I should say single buff the spell on the target enemy in front of you. Then you're going to call all your other bounty hunter allies to assist. And the cool thing is, if you defeat that enemy that you called, that you put the bounty on for the bounty hunters to follow up and attack, if you defeat that enemy, boom! It's like Illuminated Destiny of BB-8, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to be getting your offense up, defense penetration up, critical damage up, critical chance up, and health steal up. Oh, it's solid. And without the Zeta, allies with the pants are going to do 10% extra damage. The Zeta adds 30% damage, or it adds 20. So in total, you're going to deal 30% extra damage, which is why I don't want to short sell the Zeta for bring them in cold, because especially when your payouts are triggered and you have all this offense up on your team, that extra 30% more damage for each bounty hunter ally attacking, that can really help ensure you're going to finish off an enemy on the spot. But even without the Zeta, you're still doing a pretty solid mass swarm attack. Keep in mind, a lot of the mass assisting capabilities in the game, they penalize you. They reduce your damage when you're assisting. Think of General Veers or Commander Cody. They reduce your assisting damage. Greef Karga is the exact opposite. He's going to boost your damage if you have your payouts triggered, which is why this is probably going to be one of your more powerful mass swarm abilities in the game. With or without the Zeta, it's fine, but man, that I can only imagine how much better it's going to be with that Zeta, bumping it up to 30% more damage. So that's really the main part of Greef Karga's kit. We talked about his stealth, how that stealth at the beginning is really important, because if he did not have the stealth, JKR can knock him out right away. Han Solo can knock him out right away. That is why that stealth is so important for both high star viability as well as his low star viability. Now I'm going to talk a little about the leadership ability. Here's the thing. We already got a couple of solid leaders in the game. Jango Fett's my favorite bounty hunter lead in the game. Bosk is definitely a close second in there. And then the other bounty hunters that are good are like Boba Fett, Zam Wessel. Every bounty hunter has a leader, and not every single leader for the bounty hunter has to be good. It's just there to give you a lot of flexibility for your bounty hunter faction. Greef Karga definitely has a top 5 bounty hunter lead in my opinion. The problem is, when you're thinking of PvP type of things, you need that contract, whatever leader, to go off as quick as possible. And Jango Fett, in my opinion, has the quickest type of contract to get triggered. Boba Fett could hypothetically, if you're going up against a Night Sister team, might be easy too, but Jango Fett is the most consistent way to get that contract triggered as fast as possible. Greef Karga, my problem is you need to attack out of turn, so that relies on your retribution. And then nowadays it's easy to pull away retribution with Asajj Ventress, B2. Of course you could do mass assist, but you're going to need quite a couple of mass assists for that contract to trigger off. So he had an okay leader. You're not going to see a lot of gameplay in today's video, mainly because I just didn't find it all that useful. But this gameplay we're watching right now is going to tie in perfectly with our boss of the guild conversation. Now, in this battle, we're doing a bounty hunter mirror match. I'm purposely putting in a bad bounty hunter team, purposely misplaying because I wanted to showcase what happens when we do a bounty hunter mirror match. Because remember, anytime any bounty hunters are getting their payout, Greef Karga is reducing his allied bounty hunters cooldowns by 1. So in this gameplay, we went up against a better bounty hunter team. We let them get their contract off first. And as you see, even when the opposing bounty hunter team got their contract to trigger off, no problem. We're able to pick right back up and keep up with them. Reducing that cooldown is huge. Now, ignoring the mirror match situation, I don't think we're going to see a lot of bounty hunter mirror matches, at least right now. The great thing about this is that, in general, boss of the guild, when you're getting your contract to trigger, oof, it is delicious because you can now reduce all of your bounty hunter cooldowns, do like execute back to back with Boba Fett, do a mass swarm from Greef Karga back to back, or boss. A lot of fun potential with boss of the guild. That cooldown reduction is huge, and I'm so happy the Zeta is not tied to boss of the guild, because it could have easily been the boss of the guild could have had the Zeta, because that Zeta is extremely powerful to reduce cooldowns on your fellow bounty hunters. So fantastic kit. And the one thing I want to wrap up here is that for Grand Arena, one of the most important things, like, we know bounty hunters could beat stuff, but it could be a dirty match. Unless you're using a boss lead, it's hard to get full banners with bounty hunters. With Greef Karga now, and especially sweeten the deal with all that extra health and protection recovery, 25% health and protection recovery, doubled if your bounty hunters are paid out, and getting that turn meter and tenacity up. It seems really easy to be able to get high banners against Genos, and trying to get like 60 banners against Genos. We did a 60 banner battle against Jedi Knight Revan with the bounty hunters. That is huge, and that's because Sweeten the Deal is such a fantastic kit, such a fantastic ability. Greef Karga is going to offer a lot of potential to the bounty hunters right now. He's a fantastic support character at low stars. Thank goodness. It's been a while since we had a low star character have viability. General Hux may have been the last one that was viable at low stars, but right now this is a fairly solid character, and I can only imagine how the Mandalorian is going to add into the mix, which I'll give a little teaser right now. As I talked about boss of the guild reducing cooldowns, one of the great things about this is Mandalorian's going to get that disintegrate capability. You're going to obviously want Mando to get that disintegrate ability to be used as often as possible. Well, with boss of the guild, hopefully you're going to be able to reduce the cooldowns even faster on Mando. Just let that sit for a moment. We're going to have to see again. We will be doing testing of the Mandalorian on April 30th around 1:30 p.m., 2 p.m. Central Time. But in the meantime, assuming that the Mandalorian's not going to have low star viability, luckily the disintegrate will probably offer some low star viability. We'll have to wait and see. The Greef Karga, if you're looking to bolster your bounty hunter team on defense, if you're looking to maybe bring them to a whole other level, if you want a good Geonosian counter without having to use, let's say, Traya, Darth Revan, a big team like that, Greef Karga is definitely going to bring your bounty hunters to another level, and I can only imagine what the Mandalorian is going to bring as well. So guys, thank you so much for watching and coming up to hang on our live stream the other day. Hope you guys learned some stuff from this video. Get a little bit excited. We have a low star viable character, because it's going to be about 3 months until this character comes out free to play, farmable. But in the meantime, you can definitely get some work done with Greef Karga. Like if you did enjoy the video, comment down below on all your thoughts. And what do we say, Gary? Be sure to subscribe so you're not missing a thing. And I'll see all you lovely people in the next video. Peace out, everybody. Woo! Gary, outro. Outro, Gary. Gary, thank you.